Mercedes-Benz. The name itself evokes more than just an image of a car. It's a synonym for the very invention of the automobile. The story begins not with a sprawling factory, but with a single, groundbreaking idea. On a cold January day in 1886, a German engineer named Carl Benz ignited a new era. He didn't just build a new vehicle, he built the world's very first gasoline-powered automobile, a three-wheeled masterpiece known as the patent Motorwagen. This moment didn't just change transportation, it sparked a revolution that would reshape the world. From that humble, three-wheeled beginning, a legacy of relentless innovation was born. Mercedes-Benz would grow from a symbol of engineering genius into a global icon, crafting not just vehicles, but defining what it means to travel with luxury, performance, and cutting-edge technology. They gave us the timeless elegance of the S-Class, the sheer power of the legendary 300 SL Gullwing, the rugged spirit of the G-Class, and the thrilling performance of the Silver Arrows on the racetrack. This is more than just a brand story. It's a tale of human ingenuity and the unyielding pursuit of perfection. This is the journey of how a single invention in Germany transformed into a global titan, forever changing how we move, how we feel freedom on the open road, and how we imagine the future. This is the story of Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. The birth of the automobile. Our journey back in time begins not with a roar, but with a whisper of a new idea. The late 19th century was a world dominated by the chugging of steam locomotives and the clip-clop of horse-drawn carriages. In the heart of this industrial age, a brilliant mechanical engineer named Carl Benz was working in his workshop in Mannheim, Germany. He dreamed of an engine that didn't require tracks or a team of animals. His vision was a self-propelled, horseless carriage. On a quiet day in 1886, that dream became a reality. Carl Benz unveiled the Benz patent Motorwagen, a vehicle unlike anything the world had ever seen. A fragile-looking, three-wheeled tricycle powered by a single-cylinder gasoline engine. It was an astonishing feat of engineering, but a slow one, with a top speed of just 16 kilometers per hour. For many, it was merely an oddity, a strange, noisy novelty that seemed to have no practical use. The patent Motorwagen might have faded into obscurity, a curious footnote in history, if not for the audacity and belief of one extraordinary woman, Carl's wife, Bertha Benz. She saw not just a machine, but the future of human mobility. In August 1888, without telling her husband, she took a monumental leap of faith. With her two teenage sons, she embarked on a perilous, secret road trip. A grueling 106-kilometer, 66-mile journey from Mannheim to Pforzheim to visit her mother. This was no leisurely Sunday drive. It was a test of courage and ingenuity. When the car ran low on fuel, she stopped at a city pharmacy, now known as the world's first gas station, to buy ligroin, a chemical used as a cleaning solvent. When a fuel line clogged, she cleared it with her hat pin. When the wooden brakes failed, she had a local shoemaker line them with leather, inventing the first-ever brake pads. Bertha's journey was a resounding success. She arrived safely, and news of her incredible feats spread like wildfire. She didn't just drive a car, she demonstrated its reliability and potential. She proved to a skeptical world that the automobile was not a toy for tinkerers, but a powerful, life-changing tool. Her drive was a landmark moment, a true starting gun for the automotive revolution. Today, that historic route is a designated scenic drive in Germany, a permanent tribute to the woman who put the world on wheels. This was the true beginning of the Mercedes-Benz legacy. A story not only of groundbreaking invention, but of the courage, vision, and determination that turned a simple machine into a global icon. The rise of Mercedes-Benz. While Carl Benz was pioneering the three-wheeled automobile, another visionary in Germany was forging his own path. In a workshop not far from Benz, the great engineer Gottlieb Daimler and his design partner Wilhelm Maybach were pursuing a parallel dream. Their obsession was the creation of a powerful high-speed engine, and they succeeded brilliantly. In 1886, they famously mounted their groundbreaking engine onto a wooden bicycle to create the world's first motorcycle, and soon after, installed it into a horse-drawn carriage, essentially giving birth to the four-wheeled car as we know it today. For decades, these two titans of the automotive world, Benz and Daimler, operated in separate universes, fierce competitors, each shaping the future of mobility with their own unique genius. They were rivals in a rapidly expanding industry, completely unaware that their destinies and their companies were destined to merge. That pivotal moment arrived in 1926. In a strategic union, the two rival firms merged to form Daimler-Benz AG, a powerhouse of engineering expertise. It was a merger that brought together two legacies under a single, globally recognized emblem, the three-pointed star. This iconic symbol, originally a hallmark of the Daimler brand, represents Gottlieb Daimler's ultimate vision for his engines to be used in transport on land, on water, and in the air. With this merger, the two founding fathers of the automobile were finally united, their separate legacies now one. But what of the name Mercedes? The origin is a surprising and deeply personal one. The name came not from a brilliant engineer, but from an impassioned entrepreneur and race enthusiast, Emil Jelinek. A successful businessman in the late 1800s, Jelinek was a major distributor of Daimler vehicles. He was so convinced of their performance that he insisted the cars he ordered for racing and sale be given a new, more elegant name. The name of his beloved 10-year-old daughter, Mercedes. The name stuck. It captured the public imagination, and by 1901, the Daimler Company officially registered it as their brand name. A name that was once a small girl's nickname would go on to become one of the most prestigious and recognized names in the world. In the years that followed, the newly formed Mercedes-Benz quickly rose to the pinnacle of luxury and performance. The iconic Mercedes 35 horsepower was a game-changer, setting a new global standard for what a car could be. With its long, elegant chassis, powerful engine, and refined handling, it was more than just a means of transportation. It was a symbol of success, of prestige, and of cutting-edge innovation. By the 1930s, Mercedes-Benz was no longer just a company, it was an institution. The foundation for a global legend had been laid, built on a rich history of parallel innovation, fierce competition, and a merger that truly brought a star to the world. Golden era and icons. By the mid-20th century, the era of basic transportation was over. Mercedes-Benz wasn't just building cars anymore. It was crafting legends, machines that were both works of art and engineering marvels. Leading the charge was the automotive masterpiece that broke every rule, the 1954 Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing. It was born from racing, a road-going version of a Le Mans champion, and it looked like nothing else on Earth. Its sleek, sculpted body was a study in aerodynamic perfection, but its most iconic feature was the futuristic upward-swinging gullwing doors, an elegant solution to a structural necessity. But this was more than just a pretty face. The Gullwing was the first production car in history to feature direct fuel injection, a revolutionary technology that propelled it to a top speed of over 160 miles per hour, making it the fastest production car of its time. To this day, the sight of a Gullwing commands attention and respect, a timeless symbol of pure, unadulterated speed and style. But Mercedes-Benz's influence wasn't only defined by speed. It was equally defined by a relentless commitment to comfort and safety. In the 1970s, the S-Class was born, a sedan so far ahead of its time, it was essentially a mobile laboratory. The S stood for Sonderklasse, or special class, and it lived up to its name. Each new generation was a showcase for the future of the automobile, introducing world-changing innovations that are now standard on every car, from the anti-lock braking system, ABS, in 1978, to the deployment of the first modern airbags and the Electronic Stability Program, ESP. It was the car of presidents, CEOs, and diplomats, the ultimate statement of success and quiet authority. The S-Class wasn't just a flagship, it was a promise that Mercedes-Benz would always lead the way in safety and technology. And then there's the defiant icon that started life as a military vehicle, the G-Class. Developed in the late 1970s, this utilitarian off-roader with its signature boxy shape and rugged simplicity was designed for the toughest terrains on Earth. But something remarkable happened. Its indestructible build quality and unique aesthetic began to attract a different clientele. The G-Wagon, as it's affectionately known, transformed from a workhorse into a celebrity favorite, a symbol of brute strength paired with unapologetic luxury. It can be seen conquering mountain trails one day and navigating the red carpet of Beverly Hills the next, proving that true luxury doesn't have to sacrifice capability. Over these golden decades, Mercedes-Benz created a portfolio of legends: the sophisticated SL Roadsters, the bulletproof Pullman limousines of world leaders, and the countless sedans that became a measure of success. Owning a Mercedes-Benz became about more than just a car. It was a statement. It spoke of taste, power, and an aspiration for the very best. By turning their vehicles into cultural symbols, Mercedes-Benz had cemented its place not just in automotive history, but in the fabric of global culture itself. Racing legacy. Mercedes-Benz. For over a century, the name has stood for innovation, speed, and dominance. But behind the shiny silver paint lies a story of triumphs, tragedies, withdrawals, and comebacks that shaped not just Formula One, but motorsport itself. This is the story of Mercedes, from the birth of the Silver Arrows to their modern dynasty. The legend began in 1934. At the Nürburgring, Mercedes entered their new W25 Grand Prix car, but there was a problem. It was too heavy. Regulations demanded a maximum weight of 750 kilograms. So, the team scraped off the white paint, exposing the raw silver aluminum beneath. The car passed inspection and the Silver Arrows were born. That stripped-down car wasn't just lighter, it was unstoppable. Mercedes dominated Grand Prix racing throughout the 1930s, setting speed records and terrifying rivals with raw German engineering power. After World War II, Mercedes returned to motorsport in 1954, entering Formula One with the iconic W196. It was a masterpiece: fuel injection, advanced aerodynamics, and raw power. And behind the wheel, Juan Manuel Fangio, who drove Mercedes to 2 world championships in 1954 and 1955. Sterling Moss joined soon after, adding to the legend. But tragedy struck in 1955. At Le Mans, a horrific crash involving a Mercedes 300 SLR killed more than 80 spectators. It was the darkest day in motorsport history. Mercedes withdrew from racing altogether. For decades, the Silver Arrows were silent. For nearly 30 years, Mercedes stayed away from racing. But in the 1980s, they began to return. First in sports cars with Sauber. In 1990, a young driver named Michael Schumacher made his debut with Mercedes power. By the 1990s, Mercedes partnered with McLaren in Formula One. Together, they created legends: Mika Häkkinen's championships in 1998 and 1999, and later, Lewis Hamilton's first title in 2008. Mercedes was back. But they weren't satisfied with just being an engine supplier. They wanted their own team. In 2010, Mercedes returned as a full works team, buying out Braun GP, the team that had just shocked the world by winning the 2009 championship with Jenson Button. Mercedes brought back Michael Schumacher for one last run, alongside Nico Rosberg. Success didn't come instantly, but the foundation was being built. Then came 2014, the dawn of Formula One's hybrid era. While rivals struggled, Mercedes had already perfected the new turbo hybrid engines. What followed was the most dominant streak in modern F1 history. From 2014 to 2020, Mercedes won 7 straight drivers' championships and 8 straight constructors' titles. Lewis Hamilton became a 7-time world champion, equaling Michael Schumacher. The Silver Arrows weren't just fast, they were untouchable. But dominance doesn't come without drama. Inside Mercedes, Hamilton and Rosberg fought a bitter rivalry. In 2016, the tension exploded, collisions on track, mind games off it, and finally Rosberg retiring as champion. And then, in 2021, came one of the most controversial seasons ever. Hamilton versus Verstappen, Mercedes versus Red Bull. It all came down to one lap in Abu Dhabi, and the world is still debating the ending. Since 2022, Mercedes has faced new challenges. The ground effect era exposed weaknesses in their design. For the first time in years, the Silver Arrows were no longer the benchmark. But Mercedes has never been a team to stay down for long. With George Russell rising, Hamilton's experience, and new innovation on the horizon, the next chapter is still being written. From scraping off paint in 1934 to rewriting the history books in the 2010s, Mercedes-Benz has always been more than just a racing team. They are innovators, survivors, and champions. The Silver Arrows are not just a color, not just a brand. They are a symbol of speed, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. And in Formula One, that story is far from over. Innovation and safety. For Mercedes-Benz, engineering excellence has always been about more than just speed or luxury. It's about a fundamental commitment to human safety. The company's history is a timeline of groundbreaking innovations, many of which were first-to-market features that later became mandated for the entire automotive industry. The story of modern automotive safety begins in a Mercedes-Benz lab. In the 1950s, engineers developed the concept of the crumple zone, a revolutionary design patented by Bela Baregni. Instead of building a rigid, unyielding car, Baregni's design created a rigid passenger cell surrounded by front and rear zones designed to absorb and dissipate crash energy before it could reach the occupants. This single idea has saved millions of lives and is a cornerstone of every modern car on the road today. Then came the technological marvels. In 1978, Mercedes-Benz became the first manufacturer to introduce the anti-lock braking system, or ABS, to a production car. By preventing wheels from locking up under hard braking, ABS allowed drivers to maintain steering control, turning a panic stop into a controlled maneuver. Just a few years later, in 1981, they pioneered the modern driver airbag and seatbelt tensioner, a 1-2 punch of passive safety that provided a cushioned landing for occupants in a collision. These were not mere options. They were foundational steps toward making cars safer for everyone. But the pursuit of perfection didn't stop there. Mercedes-Benz engineers consistently pushed the boundaries of convenience and comfort, introducing features that once seemed like science fiction. They perfected adaptive cruise control, which uses radar to maintain a safe distance from the car ahead, and developed Pre-Safe, a system that can detect an imminent collision and automatically tighten seatbelts and adjust seats to prepare occupants for impact. Today's vehicles are a culmination of these relentless efforts, with advanced systems like active steering assist and voice-controlled infotainment making driving not just safer, but more intuitive and effortless. Every innovation, from the crumple zone to the digital dashboard, carries the same powerful message. A Mercedes-Benz doesn't just transport you from A to B. It protects you. It anticipates the road ahead, and it offers a glimpse into a future of mobility that the rest of the world is still catching up to. From a 3-wheeled invention in 1886 to the luxurious, silent, and intelligent vehicles of today, the story of Mercedes-Benz is not just one of transportation, but of vision, courage, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. Every chapter we've explored, Bertha Benz's fearless journey that proved the automobile was a viable machine, the awe-inspiring speed of the Silver Arrows on the racetrack, the timeless elegance of the 300 SL Gullwing, the rugged defiance of the G-Wagon, and the life-saving innovations of the S-Class has built upon the one before it. Each era has not only shaped the company, but has fundamentally changed the way we think about driving, safety, and luxury. And as Mercedes-Benz glides into an all-electric future, one thing is certain. This is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a new, electrifying chapter. The very same ambition that drove Carl Benz to build his first car is now powering a new generation of vehicles, a new era of mobility. Because for Mercedes-Benz, the mission has always been and will always be the same. It is a philosophy that defines their past, drives their present, and illuminates their future. It is simply the best or nothing. This documentary covers a wide array of historical Mercedes-Benz models, including some of the most iconic cars from throughout the company's long history.